Hey there YouTube, this is sjm4306 back with another repair video. This time we are looking at the Backbone 1, I believe. It is an attachment for your phone, basically. You put your phone in the middle here, there's a USB-C connector, and this just works like a controller. It's a wired controller for your phone, basically, to turn any phone that'll fit into a gaming machine, I guess you could say. Anywho, I tried this out with my Z Fold 4, and I'll probably post a picture in a sec. But yeah, suffice it to say, this doesn't work with all phones. I mean, it technically will work with my Fold, but it just is awkward because the Fold part is on the bottom, not the top. And that just has to do with the orientation of the USB-C port on my phone. Anywho, you can see it is expandable, so it can fit actually like a decently wide range of phones. And I believe I got this secondhand, obviously used, and I believe it originally came with some kind of attachments or something that you could snap on or off to fit like thicker phones or something. I don't know. Anywho, yeah, I got the secondhand. It was pretty cheap. I believe I made an offer for like 20 bucks and they accepted because I wanted to play around with this and see how it worked. Except for when I received this, the left side, all the buttons do not work on this side. Only the right side buttons work. So clearly there's something wrong. I'm gonna guess that there's like a ribbon or something that goes through this hinge, and just repeatedly extending and retracting it will eventually, you know, break that ribbon, and obviously then the left-hand side does not work. Yeah, I went back to the seller. I told them exactly this because it was sold as working, just used and not in amazing condition, and they refunded me my money. So I basically got this for free, but it still does not work. So I thought, why the heck not just pop this open? And luckily, it does look like 4 screws per side, Phillips, and it's gonna be openable, hopefully, without too much trouble. Yeah, I did a quick look online, and this is a super common problem. By the way, I think these retail for like $100 new, and they do come in like a all black variant, and then this white variant is the PlayStation sort of co-branded one, I guess. I don't know. Anywho, this product originally came out for iPhone, which is quite interesting. This version obviously is a USB-C version, so the later variants of these support both iPhone and Android because obviously iPhone has moved to USB-C now. Ooh. Oh, it's already popping open, geez. Yeah, I guess we could just take a look at this. Out the what? So there is a ribbon. There's some heat-resistant, like Captain film here. There's like a pet hair here, too. Jeez. Yeah, this was obviously used, so it is quite dirty. But yeah, I think, first off, I'm going to just disconnect this so I don't damage anything. And then we will continue with the teardown. So yeah, there's obviously a connector going. Let's see, does this have how many pins? No, it's just labeled J1. It looks like a good like 20 to 30 pins going between the two sides. So I wonder, I don't see, at least on this side, I don't see any like microprocessing going on. So I don't think this is like a serial communication thing. I think they literally are just passing all the signals through that ribbon. So obviously if there's a connection issue with the ribbon, then certain buttons can drop out. Interesting mechanism I was about to say for the scrolly bit. Yeah, it's like a captive pin, a like nylon slider, and a leaf spring, and that's how it do. Just gonna remove that bit. I want to see if I can like totally remove the ribbon and then inspect it under magnification to see if I can see the actual issue. But yeah, there's this like leaf spring. That's how it retracts back into itself. Interesting. Anywho, let's get the other side off. Now the other side obviously fully functions, so There's no problem in that. I might be able to, if this is a standard size ribbon, just get a replacement ribbon. And hopefully I can take apart this telescoping center part and get the original ribbon off. Then I can just replace it with a brand new one and maybe reinforce it a little better so it doesn't break in the exact same way again. Because I have a feeling from what I've been reading about everyone complaining about having the exact same issue, that this is sort of a design flaw. You can't use these types of flat flex ribbon in this type of folding mechanism, at least with this type of tight curvature. So yeah, this should be coming off now. Oh, there we go, the last screw. Yeah, I forgot to mention, does have a headphone jack on the bottom here. That's nice. So it does the analog or digital to analog conversion, obviously, and it does pass through charging because obviously your phone, when it's plugged in, you can't. Most phones only have one USB-C port, so you couldn't charge it if it didn't have this port on the bottom there. So that's pretty nice. Come on. There you go. So obviously there is a USB connector here, and this is just straight through to this port here. So those are just going to be the standard USB signals. I'm kind of tempted because there is a little free space in here. I wonder if I could fit like an ESP32 and make this into a Bluetooth controller, just for fun. If I can't fix it in its original state, maybe I'll take a look at that. But let's try fixing it first before we mod it. So now you can see this side has all the brains. I believe this side is literally just dumb connections all the way over. And yeah, there's tons of test points. I can see like a lot of small like passives, transistors, you know, 0402 resistors and whatnot. Yeah, looks like there's a couple like chips. There's what is that? A LMIC? It looks like a microcontroller. It's a date-coded 29. Oh God, I can't see. 2310. So there you go. You guys might be able to see. So 10th week of 2023. So this isn't that old even. Soldering looks a little suspect on that one solder point. I believe the joysticks are hard soldered. They don't use connectors. So if I did need to replace a joystick, that would be a bit of a pain. You can see another chip here. One of these chips, this is probably obviously the main chip that's like packetizing all the button presses and enumerating as a HID device. Probably another chip. There's obviously a regulator in the corner here. There's an inductor. It's a switching regulator. Probably another chip would have to do something about the audio signal. Maybe that's what that's doing, and then it's transmitting, you know, over this side to the other connector. Because yeah, this board has like nothing on it. And I mean, I'll take this off in a sec, but I bet you there really is no processing. This is just buttons and a joystick. And so yeah, I can see like Hall effect sensors, and this is a magnet. I'm almost absolutely, yep, it is a magnet. So yeah, when you press this down, it's just sending an analog signal, which then the microprocessor is reading. So interesting. We'll get a little deeper into this in a sec. Interesting. They put like, there's like heat shrink that they attach. I guess they insert the magnet and then use a little bit of, it's like rubbery. And there's a foam pad there so that when you don't like rub plastic on plastic. And there's a little human hair, or there's a little hair stuck in there as well. But yeah, there's a little spring for the restoring force on that trigger. The other one's just clicky. All these buttons are clicky, like tactile domes, except for the D-pad for some reason. This has had liquid damage. Great. So yeah, that's not great. I don't think that's affecting. So one thing that I forgot to mention that I did notice, if you extend it about Okay, I really gotta stop doing that. The pin and this little bushing pinged off, and I had to go search for it in the other room. Yeah, need to make sure that I do not try to stretch it out without that, the top on pretty much. But yeah, you can see now it's like free floating. I want to see how they do this. So both sides extend at the same rate. It's not like, you can see here if I just hold the center. So there's some kind of mechanism in there to do that. But what was I saying? Yeah, I forget what I was saying. I did see there is like some kind of magnet somewhere here because it attracted one of the screws. So I'm guessing that's maybe there's something for the attachment. Because I heard that they magnetically attach. I got the second hand, obviously, so I do not have all attachments and accessories and whatnot. But I do see 2 screws here, actually a couple screws, that I could probably start getting this down more towards the part where the ribbon is. I could obviously try to like fish it through, but I'd rather not do that because that's probably going to end very badly. It's going to get caught in the middle or something. Plus, I want to actually replace the ribbon, not just get it out. So, looks like a couple screws holding sort of a support. Yeah, oh yeah, that's definitely a magnet in there. That's kind of making it annoying to try to get the screw that's right next to the magnet. Going to apparently need tweezers, otherwise the screw's probably going to fly right towards the magnet. And I think this is all that is holding the left-hand side on. There you go. There was a screw. Oh, it was from the case. Okay, so yeah, now this piece is completely free. And interesting. So this piece is just loose. It's this part that when you pull it, it has that kind of scissor movement where the other side moves at the same rate. That's interesting. So yeah, I should be able to, yep, just slide this bit off. This is just plastic. And yeah, you can see that here. Yep, obviously, okay, I know how this works now. There's a rack and pinion, and can't see it yet, but there's 1 gear in here, and then 2 rack and pinions for one on this side, and then one on the bottom here, which is undoubtedly going to be attached to here. So that's how they extend at the same rate. And we'll check that out in a second, because I can probably pull this off as well now. But let's just get going on this side and completely strip it down. I saw a couple of teardowns, but none of them, as far as I could find, showed how to actually get down to the bare ribbon, which is, I think, most useful and interesting. So we are going to try to do that today. I will definitely try to source a replacement ribbon or something and fix this, or this will be a future mod video. So yeah, got this out. The whole USB part can come out now. I can see the screw that I lost. And yeah, and there's 2 more screws here, 2 more holding the USB connector if you needed to replace your USB connector. Mine looks a little dirty, but fine. And then 2 more screws here, probably holding, I don't know, part of this arm or something. I don't know why that needs to be a separate part, but whatever. Maybe that's how they hold the magnets. Oh yeah, that's how they hold the magnet in, if you wanted to remove the magnet for some reason. Yeah, these are the 2 parts there. Now this side's totally off too. I'm gonna scrub everything really good. So yeah, like I said, there has to be a gear inside of here, and there's 2 screws here. And it looks like I should be able to just kind of pop this off. This is actually decently long ribbon, so hopefully I can find something suitable. Come off now. Maybe there might be some clips. Might need to grab the pry tool. Give me 1 sec. Okay, got a little pry tool. Try not to damage something too bad. But I do want you to open, so... Oh yeah, I can just about see one of the teeth for the rack and pinion thingies in there. There's no other... There's the PlayStation logo there, but there's no other screws or anything. I'm pretty sure... Oh, I hope they didn't heat stake this together. I mean, this feels like metal. Yeah, this is metal. This part's metal, this part's plastic. So, I mean, what's stopping it from just popping apart? Okay, they're just little friction fit pins, so just got to get in there with a spudger and they will pop out. There we go. There's just a bunch of clips all along the sides. And yep, exactly as I thought. It's a rack and pinion. I misaligned it now, so gonna have to make sure when I put this back together that I get this back together in the... This is the correct orientation, so all the way inserted on both sides, and there's just like a fraction of a tooth in between. But yeah, you can see when I pull one side, it pushes the gear and then pushes the other side out in the opposite direction. And yeah, it's actually like a really clever mechanism that's like pretty simple. So yeah, I maybe possibly bent this slightly, but yeah, this is a piece of metal. There's another piece of plastic here, which I'm guessing the ribbon is taped or glued to. Okay, so there's a Captain tape holding it on, but yeah, the ribbon does go here. The ribbon is folded in this pattern, sort of an S serpentine shape. So I'm gonna guess there's gotta be a break somewhere. I wouldn't assume that it'd be somewhere in the middle because that doesn't move. That's just taped down. I'd expect it's like right in one of these bends. I would guess it's like either this bend is too sharp or this bend. This side doesn't actually look too harshly bent. So I'm gonna guess the breakage is somewhere on this side. Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's this bend. Yep, it feels really weak right there. Yep, 100%. That's... I can see cracking underneath the top layer. So like probably almost all these connections are severed. And just when you bend it, when you fully elongate it, it probably the metal pieces are cracked, but when you fully elongate it, it probably like just presses them together and they make a temporary connection. But yeah, 100% this is where the break is. And this side, actually gonna have to think now. How? Went on like this. That's actually on the right hand side. It wasn't, even though it's the left side that's dead, it's the break occurs on the right side. Interestingly enough. And so yeah, I'm gonna have to dig up a replacement ribbon then that's long enough. It does give me like a model number, I assume 20706. AWM is the manufacturer, and rated for 105 degrees C, 60 volts. Hopefully I can find a suitable replacement online. Even if it's a little longer, I can just kind of swirl the wire around the extra cableage. As long as it's not like ridiculously too much longer, I should be able to kind of stuff it in some of the empty space here or something like that. But let me see if I can find something. That's 100% the cause of the fault. I'm just gonna get some of this out of the way and let's just make sure there's nothing on the other side of this board. And I do kind of want to pull off this board and see if there's anything there. This guy obviously needs to be clean. That's some sort of juice or soda. Looks like there's this bracket. And it's somehow clipped on, or... Oh, there's a screw hiding. But I have to get the bracket off to get to the screw because it's actually kind of being interfered. Huh. How are you attached? Ah, so there is like a pivot on this one side. Getting all the stickiness all over my hands. I should have wore gloves. Yeah, this hinge has to come off. I can just about see if I can get something in between there. Give me 1 sec to get some other pointy tools. Okay, I have my little pin tool thingy. Okay, yeah, there's another, the other pivot side is over here. So yeah, it's in a bad position. Because obviously they slightly flex this when they insert it and it clicks into place. I just need to get one side off. One side, and then I can just cantilever it off. Probably inserting these are much easier. There we go. Yeah, I got one side. Yep, okay. And the spring came along for the ride. Luckily, it did not ping off. So yeah, there's that annoying screw that I needed to remove. That's probably the last screw here. There is a spring underneath the shoulder button, the top one, and I think that's it. Oh, no. There's one more screw here for the actual joystick. And another one here. The boards are actually reasonably laid out, and there's tons of test points, so that would make this easier to like debug and whatnot. I think that's it. I think I should be able to kind of, I have to, if this is a cap, because it, nope, you just push it through. Okay, it is sized so that you can fit this through. Yeah, obviously some juice got in there. Luckily, it looks like it didn't make it to the board. Though this silicone membrane will need to be cleaned. I'm just gonna yoink it off there. Yeah, looks like the juice is just stuck on the buttons themselves. Yeah, ooh. Gotta kind of want to go back in time and put gloves on. Didn't realize that this had liquid spillage. But yeah, you can see the joystick is soldered on. There's right angle pins and that are soldered onto the board. So if you want to replace it, and there's also a grounding point here, you would need a desolder wick or desoldering pump or whatever. Get that solder off, and then you can get this joystick off. Looks like there's 6 pins, so it's, yeah, it's just like a normal joystick. There's 3 per potentiometer, and wow, that was like a tongue twister there. And yeah, it's just ground, VCC, and then signal for X and Y. And you can see the button itself for the shoulder button is like set into the PCB. That's an interesting design choice. That makes it actually stronger, so that you're putting the force not just into the solder joints, but into the actual PCB is supporting the back of the switch. So that's good, rather than just having it kind of tombstoned. It's, you can see it's like halfway between the board there. That is a good design decision. It's just some other ones like the ribbon, not so much. I'm guessing this is going to be exactly the same to get this off. I'll do that in a little bit. But I don't think I'm expecting any difference here. I don't see, I think it's just that side had liquid damage. This side looks clean. It looks like there's like a clear coat on the casing. It looks like that's starting to chip off around the joystick, probably from rubbing on the joystick, but that's probably fine. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with this half of the controller. Looks like fairly clean, so I'm probably not going to bother taking this off. I'm going to guess there's absolutely nothing on the other side here other than contacts and the joystick and whatnot. So yeah, there's probably no chips or anything on the other side, because there's probably not that much room to put any chips. And yeah, there's no battery or anything internal, so there's no charge circuitry or anything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to clean everything now. That's what I'm gonna end up doing first off. And then we're gonna look into sourcing another ribbon or something. So on a whim, I took apart the other side of the console. I decided to clean everything. I already cleaned the left side, so it's pretty much as clean as it's ever gonna get. But anywho, I cleaned the right side, and I thought there'd be no circuitry in there, but there absolutely is. There's a big honkin' electrolytic cap, 2 little chips here underneath U2 and U3, I think. U23, U24. Oh, I can't even read. 21, 23. Yeah. Anyway, there's two chips right underneath there, 2 transistor-looking thingies. There's like a daughter board, which is really weird. It says it's marked 200145_1_shift_LX, and there is a semiconductor on there. That is weird. Yeah, it's obviously some sort of processor, because a microprocessor, because it has its own crystal and everything. That's like a dedicated board. So yeah, that's weird. Maybe this chip is for USB-C negotiation sort of things, or communication sort of thing. And maybe this is the main processor, because this looks significantly more complicated. And why would they give it a separate daughter board? That's a little weird. Anywho, there's a lot more like transistors and diodes and another power looking chip here. So that's weird. That's actually right underneath the USB-C connector. Anywho, you can see there's 2 LEDs here on the home button, and if you look at the home button, it is semi-translucent, so it can actually glow. And yeah, we have some EMC foam here on the side of the joystick, and that is pretty much it. I mean, there's maybe a tiny bit of analog circuitry up there, unpopulated chip. And yeah, so yeah, there's a bit more to this than I thought. But yeah, it's interesting that they went with this little tiny daughter board. Anywho, yeah, I'm just gonna finish cleaning this up. Okay, before I go on, I realized I didn't show you guys actually what it did when it was, all together. I was kind of a bit excited that things a bit out of order. Anywho, I replugged in the ribbon, and I have my Note S20 here. There we go. Don't really care about this, but whatever. So, no, I don't want to freaking subscribe. Just let me use your freaking app. Anywho, I'm open here. Can I? Yeah, there you go. So you're in the right orientation. I can go to settings, I believe, controller, and then we can calibrate and test. So yeah, you could see there, this joystick isn't being pressed at all, and it's just kind of jittering over there. And if I play with this, you could see it, like, if I bent where I think the tear is, sometimes I can get it to stop jiggling, and it'll detect some extra buttons, but it's like hit or miss. It's clearly I'm flexing this area right here, and it's causing buttons to press. They're not really pressing, it's just shorting the metal pads together and sort of temporarily making it not quite work. But yeah, you can see this side works perfectly. All the buttons, everything. So I'm just going to exit out of this. So that ribbon clearly does not work. I did find, you can buy on Amazon, I'll include a link down below. This was tipped off in a Reddit thread, actually, of all things. People complaining about the controller stopped working. You can buy a 10-pack of replacement ribbons for about $10, so $1 each. I don't need 10, I just need 1, but you can't buy just a singular ribbon. So let's just do a quick test of that. Okay, so obviously these ribbons just come straight, so I'm gonna have to bend them to get them to work like the original ones. These are 18 conductor, and I believe they are 0.5 mil spacing for the pin spacing. Ribbons come in different configurations. Basically, how many conductors or how many of metal strips they have, and then the spacing determines how small they are and how close together they are. So I'm just going to plug this in, and lock the latches, and we'll flip back over, and I will unlock my phone and just plug this straight back in. So we are back onto this screen, and I want to calibrate and test. Now you can see this no longer jitters, and the joystick fully works, and all the other buttons do as well. And we have, yeah, all the buttons work now. So clearly it was the ribbon, and I'm just going to exit out of this, and we are going to reassemble. I'm probably going to switch cameras now because I'm using my phone as the camera so that I could use, this is what I normally use to film on, but this has much better battery and a micro SD card, so I can film for a lot longer. So I'm going to switch the camera over. Give me 1 sec. There we go, that is much better. So I'm going to disconnect the USB-C connector, and we have to temporarily disconnect this ribbon, obviously. And I'm pretty much just gonna do the exact opposite. I am going to have to bend the new ribbon into this exact same pattern, about halfway down the length, and make sure that I'm doing it in the right orientation. So, gonna see about halfway is about here. So it's gonna be something like this. You probably don't want to very tightly press on it, just get the shape, and we'll screw this down and attach this to the adhesive little bit here. And I may have done this backwards. Don't really know. Let's see. Ah, no, my ribbon's upside down. That's, I guess, why. So there's some adhesive still stuck on here. We can kind of use that towards our advantage. Make sure it's aligned well enough. That looks about okay. And then we can close this up. Might have to rewatch my own instructions. This is about a week after I did the first bit. And so I don't really remember exactly. Okay, yeah, I had to get all these 3 layers realigned and snap back into place, and I put the Captain tape back on, and you can see the extension mechanism works still. It still moves freely. Okay, snug, and this moves freely too, so that's good. This ribbon is actually a little bit longer than the original ones. I actually laid this out flat, and it's like a couple millimeters longer, so gonna have to figure that point out so it doesn't. But yeah, these sit the black things inside, and then they just sort of nest. It sort of goes like this. You have to get the one end on first, and it is like sort of tensioned. But, oops. Yeah, it's like sort of tensioned, which is kind of annoying, and I have totally the wrong type of tweezers. So yeah, it just sort of goes in like that. It's tensioned, and it gets a single screw in there. Okay, I don't know why I got really confused. The way that this is supposed to be oriented is if you're looking at the ribbon stretched out, the contacts have to be facing up so that when they wrap around, the blue tab is facing the correct way. It's basically, you could see the blue tab when you plug it into the board, and then this gets kind of bent into like an S shape sort of thing. I don't know why I got so confused about that, but anywho, we're together, springs are in, everything is buttoned up, and yeah, I think it's just a matter of getting these situated. Oh yeah, before I do any buttoning up, I did want to take some of the tape and just to be safe, put it over the ribbon so that they don't just come off on their own. This isn't super critical, by the way, so probably good enough just to roughly get it lined up and then just set it down. We will need to plug in the USB-C port there, and yeah, that should kind of be it. It is going to be a little bit annoying maybe getting these lined up and everything. Make sure that the ribbons aren't actually pinching or anything. And if these ribbons break again, I have like 9 more replacements, so not that big of a deal. There you go. Just to show you, I'm filming now on my Note, and then I have my Fold. Let me just, yeah, there you go. I'll show you the awkward thing about using the Fold with this. It fits, it works, but it's not ideal. If I can get this situated. There you go, so that should be plugged in. So yeah, it works. I go away. Just go into, should probably dim my overhead lights. And go into settings. Yeah, you can see the fold part goes down rather than up because the USB port is on this side, which is a little weird, but I mean, it'll technically work. Calibration, joysticks, work. Shoulder buttons work. These 2 shoulder buttons work. If I press in, they work. ABXY, these 2 buttons, and D-pad. So yeah, this is fully functional. And so I can actually use this if I wanted to. Yeah, so that is the repair. If you guys you have the same exact device, this is apparently a very common problem. You can get a 10-pack of these replacement ribbons for only $10, so $1 each. And it is a bit tedious to get in and replace it, but it's not impossible. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.